All right, everybody, welcome back to the best hour of their day. We are going to pick up episode 2 from where we left off at the 10-year affiliate gathering. And we left with something that actually Coach Glassman addressed in his talk. And he said something that I thought was very succinct and pretty profound, which was, it's not CrossFit just because you decided to do it smarter, right? So this kind of segues into the question that we were asking about when we were talking to Austin Begebing and stuff that Jay and I were talking about, and Todd is here with us today as well, which is how do we continue to improve, or how do we continue to try to figure out ways to thrive in order to be at the 20 plus year affiliate gathering as the community grows in order to provide a better product. And the reason this came up is because one of the affiliate owners mentioned the word functional fitness class when she was asking a question. And I thought Coach Glassman's response was very appropriate. And just so everybody's clear, like I don't believe he was angry, and I don't think she was trying to do anything malicious towards CrossFit. I think she was doing something because we all acknowledge that CrossFit can be scary. So everybody's trying to navigate how to bring people in and train them while figuring out how to navigate the CrossFit is intimidating and it has a stigma in some scenarios. But what she was explaining was that they don't use barbells and they start people with lighter weight and they use less complex movements, all of which fall in the bucket of like being a better coach and understanding how to scale and coach better. And that was his response. And to elaborate on that, I think what he was saying is and this is me kind of speaking for him, but not really. It's kind of inappropriate to change the name because you decided to get better at it. So I'll let you go from there, Jay.
Well, I think part that we were trying to really dive into was all of these boxes that are offering boot camps and, watered down CrossFit. And let's let Todd chime in since this is his first time hearing this. Todd's on the call, by the way, and we're all back home. This isn't happening live at the affiliate gathering. But is it just because coaches are not good enough? Do you have to water down CrossFit to get 30 people in because they're afraid? Or do you have to water down CrossFit to get 30 people in because you can't coach 10 people on the snatch while simultaneously teaching 10 people a high pull while teaching 10 other people just maybe a kettlebell high pull? Todd, what do you think of it? Oh, go ahead, Fern.
No, I really want Todd to chime in here, but I want to add. So I kind of walked into another conversation later that evening that I did not prompt, and there was some really, really good trainers having this discussion and talking about people were creating the spinoffs, and it was that the trend is people are moving to lower skill programs, right? And I think the problem is not that people are moving to lower skill programs. Like, I don't fault anybody for that. I think where there's either a lack of self-awareness or just blatant ignorance is that they're doing it under the guise of that CrossFit is too complex or scary, rather than understanding that they're actually doing it because they're not very good at coaching CrossFit.
Yeah, and I think just for those that are listening that were like, should I have gone to the affiliate gathering? What happened at the affiliate gathering? That was one of the cool parts of that. It's just everywhere you turned, there were 10 plus year box owners that had some insight, and these conversations just kind of naturally arose, and we all, would sit down over coffee or drinks and whatnot and just dive into it. So definitely, if it's offered again, plan on attending. But Todd, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple angles to look at this thing. Number one, you're going to create your own brand within your community. And so simply having the name CrossFit in your name, yeah, there might be some people that only see that portion of it and might have a preconception of what that is. But most of your brand and what people think of your gym is going to be based on what happens within the walls of the gym, because that brand's going to be dictated by what your members are telling other people within the community. And so if, you've got people in there that are at all, skill levels and ages and abilities and all of that kind of stuff, and they are, you know, getting results and they are staying safe and they are telling the people in your community about that, I think there's going to be a less of a stigma about your specific gym. Now that happens obviously over time. If you were brand new and just opening up your gym, it's going to take some time to create your individual brand. But I think a lot of that boils down to that. So then that turns into, well, what are you doing with inside the walls of your gym? And if you are just staying true to the program itself, and sticking to, constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity, and you're not just trying to jam a bunch of that into an hour, but you're spending time warming up your athletes, you're spending the majority of your class practicing the movements and teaching them how to do them correctly, and then jumping into one workout at the, towards the end of the session where people can go hard and move well, then it's all going to work out fine. It's like, even if we're doing Amanda, it's got snatches and muscle ups in it, I can have any and everybody in my class doing that, as long as I'm teaching to the lowest common denominator. So maybe we're starting with a PVC pipe as we're going over the snatch, and as we progress through, only people that are able to add load are going to add load by grabbing a barbell or add weight. Only people that have the capacity to squat snatch are going to squat snatch. Other people are going to power snatch. Only people that have the capacity to, take the bar from the ground are going to be taking it from the ground. Some might be doing it from the hang, and your teaching process presents within it your scaling options, and you just find where somebody's at. You let them stay there and make it challenging for them. And you can take, any demographic of athlete through any workout, just based on how you program it and how you deliver the teaching and all that kind of stuff. If on the flip side of that, the workout of the day is Amanda, and it's got snatches and muscle ups, and you're going to do a 10-minute EMOM of 4 muscle ups on the minute every minute leading up to that, and then after that you're going to take 10 more minutes to build to a 1 rep max snatch, and then you're going to finish with Amanda. Well, that's not left you much time to actually teach either of those movements. And yeah, people might try something and it might not be as productive as it would have been if you would have spent, 40 minutes teaching people how to do those 2 movements, and then the last 10 minutes doing the workout, and then finished with some stretching or cooling down or something like that.
So I guess the question that comes up a lot though when we talk about that is, so Amanda's a great one. It's a classic girl workout at this point. It's been around, but the argument is going to be from the people that are going to boot camps and CrossFit Light is, hey, most people either don't need to learn the snatch and or muscle up, or don't want to. They want to come in and move for 30 to 45 minutes. Where do we draw that line?
Well, I don't think it has to be this black or white answer. I think you can serve both, right? And there's lots of different ways to do that. You can offer lower barrier of entry type programming without abandoning the brand, right? So like, I'm biased. I know it's a pet peeve of mine because I feel that a lot of people are only in their business because of CrossFit, right? Like they would not have otherwise had a gym. And then they are starting to basically put in good business practices and good scaling options, because it's all lower barrier programs is appropriate scaling, and then calling it something else when the reality is they just decided to improve their product and then decided that like rebranding was why it got better. And it's like, no, you rebranding had jack shit to do with it. You just started putting in good business principles and started coaching people and starting them at an appropriate level of training where you were not doing that before. So on that note is you can do both, right? I can just run a well-run class, because a well-run class, the assumption is always that if I have this 60-minute program and I do 40 minutes of coaching and practice, like Todd said, the assumption for whatever reason, which is incorrect, is that 40 minutes is fucking easy. It's not.
No,
it's not. It is not easy, right? Like, and that is my rub against that. It's just like, if that is in fact what you're doing, you're not doing it right. Like they should be challenged in the muscle up progression. Like you should be taking them through progressions and technique work on the snatch balance that is challenging. If you do it correctly, nobody in that class is complaining that they're fucking bored. you know?
Or that it's easy. Yeah. I mean, this happens every weekend when we teach a level 2 on day 2, there's a heavy day that one of us trainers takes them through. And that's the only thing the athletes do. And I can't tell you how often I see that the athletes in that class who are coaches and gym owners and train CrossFit regularly, by the time you get through the specific warm-up, if we're doing push jerks for that day, for the heavy day, they are smoked. They're sweating profusely. They've held positions and worked harder for positions than they normally do during the week. And they're like, holy crap, you sure that wasn't the workout? You know, jokingly, but that's the reality of it, is if you were teaching people well and making them fight for positions and working hard there, like, they're going to get plenty of work done before they even start adding weight to the bar on a heavy day or something like that. So I think, you know, you can get a workout in that same realm of just teaching people, practicing the movements, and still feel like you got a workout throughout that class.
So Fern, this kind of reminds me, you know, during the Coach Glassman's lecture, there's a Q&A and people asked about retaining members, and Russ Green chimed in. Russ Green is kind of CrossFit's head attorney, if you will, and longtime trainer as well. And
he's not an attorney though, by the way.
Okay, but he kind of does some.
Yeah, he does a lot of work on the kind of legislative side for Coach Glassman.
Smart dude, but you know, the question was something along the lines of retaining those members that want more. And I think a lot of what we're discussing is boxes are almost bringing down that barrier and trying to give people what they want, not necessarily what they need. And in reality, if you look at the theoretical hierarchy that Coach Glassman created in 2002, it's nutrition, metabolic conditioning, gymnastics, weightlifting, sport. People are jumping way to the top, if not to sport, at least to weightlifting. So really what we're saying is, hey, you need to do Amanda and you need to do these other short workouts. But the truth is you need this foundation first. That happens outside of the gym.
But there's also in the gym as well, right? But I'll let you go, Todd.
The big piece of that, like, people want what we've told them they either need or what CrossFit is. I still answer the phone when people are calling my gym to come in and try CrossFit. And I've never once heard a brand new person into CrossFit call me and go, hey, I'm interested in trying out your gym. I'm curious, do you guys do a lift and then a Metcon? Or is there 3 parts to your workout? Because that's what I'm looking for. Nobody's ever said that. They call and they go, hey, I'm looking to get in shape. I've heard CrossFit's really effective. I'm a little nervous to come in here. Do you think it's something that's appropriate for me? And they walk in my doors and I show them what CrossFit is, which is, hey, we're going to warm up. We're going to spend time every single day practicing the movements. And then we're going to do this one workout and we're going to hit it really hard. And then that's what CrossFit is to them. And I don't have members that complain that, hey, I wish I did more X, because they're like, nah, CrossFit is whatever you've showed me it is within inside the walls of your gym. Now, on a rare occasion, we'll have people that are coming from other gyms or that have experience, and maybe they want most what they were exposed to, and that's what they were taught somewhere else. But that's not the basis of our membership. The basis of our membership are people that, are new to CrossFit, and we are delivering this product to them. And if somebody has experience and potentially wants our gym, well, you can come in and see if it's the right fit for you. And if it's not, there's no problem with that. You can find the place that works a little bit better, or I can give you some extra floor space or time to do some additional stuff on your own if that's what you want to do. But
it comes down to, I think you kind of summed up that it comes down to 2 major issues going on at a box level. Either A, your community and culture is all of a sudden doing too much, whether they saw it at the games or you have that 1 or 2 athletes that try to do too much and they want to do it. So now they're getting pulled from what they originally loved, which was just, hey, I come in, I hang with my friends, I get coached, or they're coming from other boxes. Is that what you think, Fern, is really the, because these were 10-year affiliates. So they've kind of run the gamut, as all of us have. We've been there when it's like, it's 1 workout a day, it's fun. It's strength and Metcon, it's 3 parts. But now we're trying to reel this kind of fish back in and it's pulling hard against us.
Well, I think the big takeaway is that collectively, all of us, right? So what I don't want to be misinterpreted here is that we're like hating on people. Like, I'm definitely not. The point of this podcast is to have hard discussions that are uncomfortable, acknowledge that there is a large swath of the community that is misapplying the program, right? And that we can all collectively get better. And if anybody is sitting around waiting for HQ to do that for you, that is not going to happen. That has never been their intent. Like, they created the program. We provide the seminars with which we teach you the program and how to apply it. And then from there, it is on us, the community, the affiliate owners, the coaches, to continue to get better, which is always seeking out information, finding different ways to do that, rather than moving or gravitating towards what's easier, which is less coaching by putting more in the hour, or moving to lower skill programs, right? Like, you can do that. You can do both. Two things can be true at once. I can have really, really high-end coaching while offering lower barrier of entry programs to feed people into my CrossFit program. And I can do that really well at the same time, right? Like, you can run boot camps that are CrossFit centric while still teaching the points performance of all the movements. And then as people get more comfortable, move them towards the barbell. Like, that is a real thing. But I think everybody is just moving towards what's easier because of this unrealistic expectation, which has never been the case, by the way, that CrossFit is going to come in and save your gym. Like, that's your job, right? Is to make sure that your gym is healthy and operates the way that it should.
Yeah. And, the two of us were at the affiliate gathering. The three of us have been in this call for nearly, 2 hours, and we were kind of filling Todd in on what went down. And just to summarize what went down, like, Coach Glassman gave an inspiring, motivating speech. It's clear the direction of CrossFit is to promote health, but he also believes by promoting health, boxes will grow. You're going to get grandmas and moms to do CrossFit as well. But at the same time, he's not going to show up at your box and help you improve your box. That's what we're here for.
And they've never said that.
Yeah,
which is why it's confusing that people are like are angry that they're not getting that, and that has literally never been the case.
Well, and you and I discussed it on the previous episode, where it's like, you're paying $500, maybe $3,000. What do you expect? I mean, if you were like Coach Glassman, I want an hour of your time, it would be significantly more than $3,000 an hour.
Chris Cooper just dropped an article about this, which is like, if that is what people want, and they want some sort of playbook, and they want some people to CrossFit to come in and, like, people throw around the term, the quality assurance program, at which point most people would get cut. Your affiliate fee is not $3,000 anymore. It's $150,000 to figure out what best practices are and send teams around to do Q&A and do all that stuff like that. Like, I don't think people understand how all of that works.
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A is $1 billion company, right? And the operators that have those franchises, Chick-fil-A takes 50% of that, right? So if that's what you want, you're going to forfeit 50% of your revenue.
I'll throw this out there right now. I'm speaking for Fern and Todd. We will take 3 boxes, willing to pay $10,000. You will get the 3 of us for 2 solid days at your box. We will pay for travel. We pay for everything else. It'll cost you $10,000, and we will make your box better. You guys agree with that?
100%.
Todd, you in? $10,000. All that's it. One check. We cover our own travel and everything. Todd will drive. Fern and I will fly first class. And
yeah, sounds about right. Jay, we can pack you in the overhead bin, dude. You don't even have to pay for a seat, bro.
Dude, how many people came up to me at the affiliate gathering? They're like, "You gonna hit that 50 back squats?"
And you still haven't done it.
I know it. It wasn't that I don't want to. I need to just.
It's that you can't. It's that you can't. Yeah, I know what that is.
I think. Are we working together in the next 4 weeks at all?
I don't know.
We're gonna be at the summit. We're gonna be at the summit.
Boom. We're gonna do it at the summit. I think
that was one of those times I spoke way.
We'll do it at the summit in front of everybody.
Yeah, I spoke too fast on that. That was a mistake right there. I should not have done that.
Yeah, good.
It's going to be
perfect.
Just for people listening, the summit is going to be everyone. 200 people now making fun of me while I'm squatting instead of 2.
God, that's going to be epic. I'm going to send David an email right now letting him know that that's how we should kick off the summit. Before coach comes in and talks to everybody, let's have you on stage doing 50 squats.
It'll be like at the games.
22 squats.
It'll be like the games with the kettlebells, trying to go overhead.
So I have a question for you guys on a serious note, because I've been really trying to, and this question kind of came up because I was talking to the two guys that we talked to after we interviewed Coach Glassman, Jay, and
Charlie and Spencer.
We were having a discussion about like there's such a help, like yeah. And why do you guys think that there's such a stigma around acknowledging that we as coaches and affiliate owners could and should do better? Because that is where I feel the overall community is at, where people, like, there's this weird unspoken thing that is like, it's bad to acknowledge that we have shortcomings and can be significantly better. And I'm putting myself in that bucket.
Todd, you want to go first?
Phrase that for me a little bit. Like, you're just saying that we're not admitting that we can be better, and so we're trying to put the onus on somebody else to come in and save our business?
I think collectively that is where the large majority of the community sits. And I'm really trying to figure out why. Like, why is that the case? Because that is counter to everything that people are immersed in and indoctrinated in when they come in and they do the level 1 and the level 2, which is like, there is always room for improvement. And the only way to improve is to constantly seek that out.
I think in general, in life, really at this point, I was having this conversation with my wife last night. It's like people see other things and other, social media and all that, and only see the good stuff. So there's that whole stigma in life these days. Like, no one's posting, hey, I lost 3 members today, or so-and-so, quit and went to another box. And in the same way, we see all these other, whether it's boxes or coaches or programming, that are just, quote unquote, killing it. And we think we need to do better, not realizing, hey, if you have 70, 80, 100 members, you're running a pretty successful business. Like, maybe instead of worrying about what other people are doing and what you could be doing better, focus on some of the things you're doing well. So I think there's certainly that component to it. But did you want to dive deeper than that, Todd?
No, I'm with you there. Like, I think, just like Fern said, I think a lot of times all of us struggle to look in the mirror and be like, well, the reason that things aren't going as well as I like, or I want them to, is because I'm not putting in the work to do that, So it's on us. And if, we're not doing a good job of getting people in the door, then what do we need to do? How do we spread the word better? I think it's on us to continually evolve and improve and figure out how to be more efficient, whether that's learning better business practices, whether that's becoming a better coach. It's like, you need to look in the mirror and figure out where you're slacking, and then dive into trying to improve that area. And
I think it's low hanging to be like, well, CrossFit's harder to coach. I want to get more people in here, so I can just get rid of the snatch, get rid of the clean, and not do muscle ups. And now it's easier and I'll get more people, rather than saying, hey, maybe I need to be better at coaching those movements and coaching them with multiple people. I mean, there's never a class where I'm going to coach today, where I look at the whiteboard and I'm like, oh shit, I got to coach that. And I'm going to have, so-and-so and so-and-so in class. How am I going to make that happen? I look at it, I'm like, cool. This is immediately I start to brainstorm how I'm going to do that, where I'm going to put people, and we're going to use PVC, a bar, where it's easier. It would be significantly easier to be like, those snatches, everyone's doing kettlebell swings.
Yeah. And this is something, so let's assume worst case scenario that everybody thinks CrossFit is going to kill people, like, which we all know it is not, right? Like, it's just not a thing. My question to anybody who has that feeling, they're like, well, people are afraid of the brand. And my question is, what are you doing about that? Like, your gym's name is not CrossFit, period. Like, Inc. Your gym name is CrossFit Rife or CrossFit North Naples. Like, that is your brand. And the lack of ownership of your brand, I think, is the actual problem, which is like, what are you doing to promote your brand and to educate people on what you're doing inside the walls of your gym. And the vast majority of people are doing nothing other than complaining that somebody didn't hand them this perfect thing that mitigates all of people's anxiety. Like, that's not a real scenario. So like, if you're a gym owner, you're a coach or affiliate owner, what are you doing about that scenario? Are you producing content that shows people how you run your classes and that how you guys scale athletes and that CrossFit is for somebody who's 75? Like, are you highlighting those members that have done really, really well? Are you putting out coaching content? Are you putting out content that shows your community? Are you writing articles and doing podcasts and doing all that stuff? And the short answer is the vast majority, 99.9%, are not doing that. They're just sitting around complaining that CrossFit didn't just bring 500 people into their gym. So now they're going to call it whatever, so Jay's Fitness.
Yeah, if you think by dropping the CrossFit and calling it Right Fitness or Jay's Fitness, all of a sudden you're going to go from 50 to 200 members, you're absolutely wrong. It's not the word CrossFit that's scaring people away. It's that people are going to the Orange Theories and the Bikram yoga studios, and the Barry's boot camps out there, not necessarily because they're afraid of CrossFit, just because their friends are telling them about it and they think it's a little bit, lower barrier to entry. But what CrossFit is doing by putting those older people on the .com and what Coach Glassman made clear is that's getting picked up by national news. I mean, if you have a member that's lost 100 pounds and you have an 80-year-old woman, you should be sharing that on your social media, pushing it out there to all your members to share, because that's what's actually going to get mom to be like, oh, I can do this. I mean, the whole point, just to make it clear, paraphrasing what they said there, the reason Coach Glassman got that set that was meant to look like All in the Family, based out of, Long Island, New York, is because not that he wanted people to lift water jugs at home, but because he wanted people to say, well, I can do this, and I will go find my local affiliate to do that.
Yeah.
But simply go ahead, Todd.
I just, you referenced, people in your community going to these other facilities instead of your gym. And if that's the case, if you feel like you're losing some of the market share, some of your potential clients because they're going to Orange Theory or going to this boot camp place, maybe there's some value in it for you to go to that specific place and see what they're doing differently. I'm pretty sure it's probably not because they don't use a barbell and you do. It's probably because the facility's actually clean, or like you walk into a bathroom that you can actually use, or you walk in and somebody greets you when you walk in the door. Like, look at what they are doing differently. It's not the workouts. In my opinion, I'm hard pressed to think that that's the case. More often than not, it's this experience that they get. If you call Orange Theory, does somebody answer the phone or call you right back? If that's not the case at your gym, it's probably not the CrossFit name. It's probably not the barbell you're using. It's probably not any of that kind of stuff. It's like you guys are missing some of the experience piece. And that's our job as well, is to make it somebody's best hour of their day. And that's beyond just a good workout for the 10 or 12 minutes that you're working out in class. It's from the moment they wake up in the morning and maybe they check the app on their phone to see what your workout looks like. Is something even posted there? Is there notes around that? Like, the experience goes well beyond just the small portion of class that includes the workout itself. There's a lot more to it. You need to be taking note of all of that stuff and seeing what you can do to improve that as well.
And again, I think that's a perfect place to just end where we started, which is what Coach Glassman said. It's not CrossFit just because you decided to do it smarter.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of gets wrapped up in, they're no longer doing CrossFit. It's all still CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I agree. Good place to end it. It just kind of made me think, McDonald's at one point was the only burger spot, and then probably Burger King or somebody else opened, and McDonald's wasn't like, well, we're going to change something. They looked at Burger King. What can we do better? Just like when Chipotle opened, I'm sure they're like, all right, what can we gain from that and implement here? And rather than say, well, we're going to drop the McDonald's, it's like, no, we're not dropping that. We're going to just see what we can take from these other businesses that are clearly doing it well. Orange Theory is clearly doing something right. You can hate on it all you want, but their classes are packed and trainers are getting paid like $50 an hour. They're doing something
60.
right.
60. Orange Theory is my counter argument to everybody that says CrossFit is too expensive. The price points are very similar, and most Orange Theories do not make money until they breach the 500 member mark. So anybody who's like, the market is saturated and people can't afford that, you're wrong. You're not giving out you're not giving out the appropriate message, and you're not working hard enough to like expose yourself within the community. There is no shortage of people looking for fitness, and Orange Theory will and is currently be my counter argument to anybody who has either of those arguments. It's not money, it's not time, it's the value that people have, which means you need to do it better.
Yeah, and I can promise you Orange Theories aren't throwing 10-year affiliate gatherings. They're not having, box parties. They're not doing cool, fun Saturday events for their members. They're just giving some people a subpar workout. What's so funny, Todd?
No, I'm with you, man.
All right, so let's wrap it up there. And Fern, like you've said, it's not CrossFit just because you decided to do better. Anything else you gathered from the affiliate gathering?
One thing that it made sense when he said it, but I don't know why I hadn't realized it before, is there's a lot of kind of talk around the change of the website at the beginning of 2019. And Coach Glassman said, it is a B2B tool, right? Where that isn't a meaning for anybody who doesn't know what that means. It's business to business tool. So when they revamped the website, it was no longer for athletes or people that were looking to train CrossFit. Like, the resources that are available on there are for trainers and affiliates to educate themselves to become smarter, right? To be able to have conversations about cholesterol and diabetes and nutrition and training and levers and all of that stuff. And if you look on there, it is now very much an educational tool, right? So for people who are like, well, I don't read the website anymore, that's a massive mistake. If you're a trainer or you're a box owner, you're not reading because a lot of people used to go there for entertainment, right? They used to go there for consumption of like entertaining material. And the subject matter of that content is now switched. It is largely educational, right? Which is where I think everybody should be spending a lot of their anyway, is how we get better. And so when he said that, it made perfect sense. I was like, oh, of course it's a B2B tool. But everybody was really confused because that's largely not what it was before. It was a B2C. It was a business to consumer, people who wanted to train CrossFit or wanted to purchase seminars and stuff like that. But when you look at it now, you're like, okay, that makes more sense. This is now a tool for me to use those resources and somehow improve my gym.
Yeah, and I mean, it was very clear from the affiliate gathering that there's a plan that goes into the website, weeks and months in advance, not just for the programming, but for the content that gets put up, from the cooking videos to the, articles that are getting there to even the art. So like you've said, it's not meant for people to go there and necessarily do CrossFit anymore, but it's meant for you guys as affiliate owners to go there and learn. And if you're not taking advantage of that, it's probably because it's over your head and you're not smart enough to grasp what Coach Glassman is putting out there.
Well, which is a lot of us.
Oh yeah. I mean, I joked about it, but I was serious when we were talking to him. Fern and I sat down with him. At one point he was talking and I was just like, I don't know what he's talking about. He's lost me. In my mind was just like, I hope Fern is following this. Luckily you were. The mark of a smart businessman is teaming up with someone smarter than him.
Well, I'm glad that you've acknowledged that I'm the smart one.
In some capacities. Luckily, we both teamed up with Todd. I think that's why, huh?
That's it. And things going over your head, Jay, that's nothing new for you, right?
that is
not only mentally, but also physically, huh?
I'll tell you what's going to go over my head. 185 after I hit my 50th rep and I throw it in the air.
You're going to crumble to the ground, and that's going to just smash you down into the floor. That's going to be fantastic.
Jerk the last rep right over my head. Well, Todd, let's wrap it up with this. As someone that wasn't at the affiliate gathering, you've been around 10 years. What was your take from afar, from what Fern and I've said to you about it, from talking to other friends? What's your stance on where CrossFit is right now?
where CrossFit is now, it's an interesting place that it's changing and it's moving a slightly different direction. But, I can remember years ago being like, hey, this stuff isn't necessarily built for like the three of us guys that are athletic and even without CrossFit, we would still be active. We would still be fit. We'd still be working out. This program is better designed for people like my mom, which I was lucky enough to start doing this in 2009. So I'm excited about the fact that it's moving in a direction to where it's actually targeting and marketing towards those people, because they get way more value in going from having an inability to squat to being able to do multiple reps and to do it with weight. Whereas compared to us that can go from what, Jay, your 4-minute and 45-second Fran time now to like a 4-minute and 40-second Fran time with 65 pounds and jumping pull-ups. I mean, you would be making that kind of progress anyway. So I think it's pretty cool the direction it's going. It'll be interesting to see where it continues to evolve and go to, but I'm excited to see that.
All right, I want to wrap this up. I have 2 challenges that you kind of made me think of. One would be, if you're listening to this and either your mom or, someone in line with who your mom, if your mom passed away or she already does CrossFit, but someone in line with like that kind of demographic is not doing CrossFit, sit down with them and find out why. Like, my mom doesn't do CrossFit. I should go sit down with her and say, like, Mom, what is it about CrossFit that scares you? She does her water aerobics. So what is it about CrossFit? And bonus would be, see if you can convince them to do it. And then secondly, what Coach Glassman said they're working on right now is they're doing a lot of free CrossFit for what he termed, obese and old people.
The underserved population.
The underserved population. Consider doing that at your box. If I had a box right now, I would have 2 hours a week, if not 3 maybe, dedicated to free CrossFit to the underserved people that were, I would come up with my criteria for being obese and old. And it would probably just look something like, your life is not enjoyable right now, and I can make it better. And I would do it for absolute free, no money expected. And I would tell them, I'm going to use you guys. I'm going to film the shit out of you guys and blast it to show the local population what we're doing. I would try to get news coverage. I would try to get them to talk about it. I would make them take before and after pictures. If you're not doing that at your box, I think you're doing your local population a disservice. Silent radio silence. We good? Should we end it there? You guys good?
I like it. Yep.
All right. So let's leave it there. We'll continue to have this discussion. If you have questions on it, of course, reach out to us. But hopefully that helped. I know a lot of times we have discussions and we're kind of like going all over the place with it. I hope that we landed on something valuable to the listeners.
Yeah, I think so. Even if it's just some, reflection.
And like we said, $10,000 gets the 3 of us to your box. Fern and I first class, Todd back and coach. Fern and I get our own room. Todd, you get a hostel.
I know why you guys want your own room together. I think we discussed that beforehand. So you guys can have that shared room, that what one
separate rooms,
size bed, one full size bed. I will get the solo hostel room. That's fine. Perfect.
And I know we're joking about this, but for real, like if a box, I know that sounds like a lot of money. It's going to cost money for the 3 of us to travel there. We're going to give you 2 full days, but I think that would be immensely valuable to a box to have us there. We'll film some stuff. We'll put content out for you. We didn't come on here to pitch that, but now it's out there. So, all right, we're wrapping up Best Hour of Their Day. We will be back. Thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Come on, who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, one more time, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and send us any feedback you have to @besthouroftheirday on Instagram and besthouroftheirday@gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email. We appreciate you. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.